just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
We're back here on the Believe in NFL Draft Prospects podcast with another positional comparison show. We're wrapping up running backs this week, so today we've got two more guys. Coming up for our last episode of the week, we're going to do our full panel episode like we did with the quarterbacks, talking about guys that we love, guys that we hate in this running back group. But today we've got a really fun one. This is the one that I think I'm the most excited to talk about, Ryan. We've got Jahmyr Gibbs, the previous Georgia Tech running back, now a transplant at Alabama, and the guy that we're going to be pairing him with is Deuce Vaughn, Short King Deuce Vaughn, the 5'6" Kansas State running back. I'm claiming that title for him now. We need to get t-shirts made. Short King Deuce Vaughn.
Interesting.
He's going to be the smallest guy in the draft class. So, you gotta guys don't make that much noise for players that small.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I guess first and foremost, Joe, if people are watching the video, why are we both wearing hats and also have green shirts on?
I don't know. We both have poor taste, apparently.
You're a guy that was like spouting on Twitter yesterday about how he's so Italian, and then he's wearing a leprechaun shirt.
I'm also
today.
Irish, okay? Like, when I can be both things.
I'm so Italian. Here's my leprechaun.
I'm also a Notre Dame fan. Is that like when am I supposed to just wear Italian flags everywhere I go? I'm not that much of a
if you're gonna
Jersey
pretend
Italian.
If you're gonna pretend like you're an Italian snob on Twitter, then you need to just represent it all the time. Personally.
I'm not an Italian snob. I'm more Italian than you are. You've got what the heck kind of last name is Roberts? Is that Irish?
It's an Irish name, but my mom's full Italian, so I got half Irish in me. All right.
Doesn't count. If you don't have the last name, I'm not counting it.
Well, my mom's name was Padula. Does that count?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay. Cool. My grandmother on that side had one of those brick pizza ovens in the backyard. They also had a wine cellar.
That's not like a.
They also had a wine cellar.
Okay, having a wine cellar is not like
That's pretty Italian, man.
Verification of how Italian you are. Nonetheless, we don't need to waste our time on the semantics.
You call gravy sauce. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. I'm from a more Italian part of New Jersey. That's where I'm closing it down. South Jersey's not that Italian.
All the Guidos in North Jersey. Is that what you're claiming right now?
Yeah, I am because
cool.
Jersey City, Summit, not so much Milburn, Nutley, Verona, Montclair. All those areas are much more Italian than anything.
There's a town called Nutley. There's a town called Nutley.
You've never heard? Nutley is probably the most Italian town that you can find. Like, go look through their, if you're bored later, because you're a recruiting guy, go look through their high school roster, and it's just nothing but Italian names. There's nothing else. It's all Italian names.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
I'll do that. I will do that.
When you have time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this running back group, though, Ryan. Before we do it, I just want to tell our listeners about today's sponsor. Our partners at BetOnline continue to be the #1 source for all of your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest sports developments, including updated odds on the NBA and NHL playoffs, Major League Baseball fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all of your sports wagering needs, including live betting and your favorite Vegas casino and poker games. It's super easy to get started, so head to their website today or use your mobile device to join and use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That has to be the worst run-on sentence I have ever tried to read, and it's now hitting me how bad it is. BetOnline, where the game starts. You were the English major. Is that not a horrendous run-on sentence?
It was pretty bad, man. It was pretty bad. I usually tune you out, but that one was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
We need a better ad copy. Okay, so Ryan, I got to start this off by saying, out of any of the running backs I've watched, and I like Bijan Robinson. I want to make it clear that I didn't not like Bijan. But out of anybody that I watched, I was the most excited watching Jahmyr Gibbs, the new Alabama running back. There's just something about him, man. It's this quick hit acceleration that it takes him no time to accelerate when he hits an open lane. And the fluidity to me is the most exciting part, is that he's he's just such a fluid mover. He's got really good contact balance. He's really, really good at cutting. And kind of like what I talked about with Zach Evans, I think even more so applies in this circumstance. When he gets past that first line of defenders and he hits a hole, he brings this kick returner mentality to running the football. And he weaves in and out of defenders, in and out of the secondary. That to me makes it so exciting to watch because this is a kid who is a home run hitter on any given down.
And he is a kick returner as well. So it makes sense that he has that background. He's got the field vision. I agree with you completely. I don't know if it's a hot take, Joe. I put it on Twitter. I kind of left it very it was very hard to read, I guess. I would take Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round.
Oh yeah, that's not a hot take. Well,
yeah.
I don't know if you I don't know if you pay attention to the videos I put out on the Hack City YouTube. I was so inspired by watching Jahmyr Gibbs. I did a quick little 5-minute take video, which I'm trying to do more over the summer. Yeah. I'm going to proclaim now the kid's going to win the Heisman.
Think so?
I don't think that should be a hot take. That should not be a hot take. There's going to be so much attention put on Bryce Young this upcoming season and trying to slow down that passing game. They also lost 2 of their better receivers. It is going to be very run dependent. And if you give that kid good blocking, which he did not have at Georgia Tech, he is going to put up some stupid astronomical numbers.
What do you mean only 2 of their best receivers? You're forgetting Slade Bolton as well? How dare you, dude?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I forgot about Also, you can include Jaleel Billingsley. They lost him too.
Yes. And I mean, they just lost Brian Robinson too, right? To the draft as well, went in the 3rd round. So I think that it's a clear ascension for him as the number 1 running back, even though there are still talented running backs in the group like Trey Sanders and them. But yeah, Gibbs is special, man. Hey, Joe, here's a question. I'm going to ask you, and I want an honest answer. Okay. Honest answer.
Okay.
You're on the board. You need a running back. I don't care what your system is, just in a vacuum. Who are you taking, Bijan or Jahmyr Gibbs? I feel like you're
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Are you a Gibbs guy? Number 1, running back 1? Yeah.
I'm high. I love Bijan Robinson. I like Bijan Robinson. And I think that if Jahmyr wasn't in this class, I would have just sat down and proclaimed that Bijan was running back 1. But I know he has that home run ability, but the explosiveness and the ability to take any touch to the house from Jahmyr, doing it on a team that was terrible. It was horrible. It was pathetic to watch that offensive line, some of those receivers. The fact that he was doing that stuff at Georgia Tech is it's scary. It's frightening.
You should put on Twitter that's your take, that Jahmyr Gibbs is running back 1 for next year. That will get a lot of play. It really will.
Well, I tweeted a couple clips and it got some good run.
Yeah. My comp for him is Jamal Charles, and I really like the comp. I do. I think that Jamal Charles was a little faster. I mean, he was like a 4.3 dude, right? And Jahmyr's probably more 4.4 dude, but like still just fast, silly fast. I think he has pretty good vision, especially second level vision. Like he makes linebackers look pretty bad in space when he breaks to the second level. Great hands, easy catcher of the football, explosive. There's not really any holes, honestly, because I thought he was going to be kind of a down on first contact type of runner too, but like he breaks some tackles too. Like it's not, I mean, he's not going to truck guys like Bijan will occasionally, but like he slips a lot of tackles, which is fine. Right. So yeah, I mean, I'm there, man. Like second best running back in this class that I've evaluated, in my opinion, at this point. Much different player than Bijan and a couple of these running backs that we've taken a look at so far. But if you're looking for a dynamic element to the game, if you're looking for pass catching, if you're looking for a guy that is in the Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook type of universe as a runner, as far as style that he brings to the game, Jahmyr's special. He is. He really is a special player.
Yeah, I really think that at the next level, and we're going to get to see it at its full scope this year when he's at Alabama. Once he makes it to the NFL, he's a guy that you can scheme a lot of touches around. And they weren't doing that really at Georgia. He just happened to be open more than his receivers were, and he got a lot of, dump off passes. They did get him some screens and some things like that, but when he was getting intentional touches, like the guy was lighting things up. But so the one thing I'm just kind of curious on is, you think that Bijan is faster than Jahmyr?
No, not faster. I'd say Bijan is like a mid 4.4 type of dude, like 4.45 ish, but for 221 pounds, it's flying. I'd say Jahmyr's 4.4 fast, like 4.4 flat, maybe 4.38, somewhere in that ballpark. And he's he's obviously a lot quicker than Bijan because he's smaller. I mean, he's like 20 pounds lighter. So
yeah, I was gonna say at least high 4.3s for Jahmyr. I mean, it's noticeable how fast he is.
I mean, he's a kick returner, pass receiver. I've actually thought pass blocking wasn't bad either. Like, it needs to improve, but it was solid. Like, he had some moments in pass protection where I was like, okay, I can get behind that. Like, he's decent enough. So there's just not really many holes in him. I mean, he's not the biggest back in the world. So maybe he's going to be destined to be a part of a platoon approach as far as like an early down ball carrier. But I mean, the kid should touch the ball 250 plus times a year. Like, he's that type of dude. So yeah, he's a special kid for sure.
Talking on the other guy who's not a very good pass blocker for obvious reasons.
Speaking of special, go ahead.
Don't make fun of my transition. Deuce Vaughn, though, Kansas State running back, short king Deuce Vaughn. He can't really do a whole lot as a blocker. I just have to throw that. We're getting that off. That is the one main negative with him because he's so freaking tiny. Like, I watched him try to block a couple times, and he puts his body, he throws his body at guys, but he can't do a whole lot. And you do kind of see, I was very impressed by him and I really liked him, but the size limitations I think are at least noticeable, but not like a major detriment.
Yeah. Now look, Deuce Vaughn's not going to carry 250 times in a season. Like, it's just not going to be him, but like, I can see him being 100 to 150 carries and have 80 receptions. Like, I think that he's that type of dude. I really do. I mean, even in the games that it was perceived that he was shut down, right? He would still have 7 to 10 catches, right? And at like 100 yards receiving. So there's dynamic ability to a guy like a Deuce. I think he's incredibly quick. I think he's slippery. And I think he's very explosive just in general. And he's just got an understanding of how to attack space. He's never going to be a tackle breaker because, again, the kid's listed at 5'6", 176 pounds, which in reality says he's 5'5" and some change, maybe $170. Like, he's a smaller back. There's no doubt about it. But this kid, I think, is a special player in space. I think he brings a huge baseline as a pass receiver. I think there's a clear translation to him playing a lot of football on the next level. And again, like, he's not going to be drafted over a couple of running backs that we've talked this week because he doesn't have early down ball carrier upside as far as a volume perspective. But like, he's going to play a lot in the NFL. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think that you can find a parallel to Jameer Gibbs in the sense that he's the guy with any touch that you give him, it can be a touchdown. You give him a little bit of space, and it can be a touchdown. So you're coupling a guy who has elite breakaway speed, elite quickness, elusiveness, but the fact that he's so small, and you use the word slippery, and I think the word slippery can be overused at times when we're talking about receivers and running backs and such. But man, this has got to be one of the most slippery guys I've ever seen. Like, he squeaks his way through holes. Like, he's like a mouse. Like, he's so tiny that guys can't really catch him because he's so small. But the one thing that does come with that, and it's not like I saw it a ton of times, if he doesn't create that's like enough separation, he's so light that it doesn't really take a whole lot to drag him down. Even no matter how strong he is, he's not going to be able to work through a 300-pound defensive tackle that grabs him with one arm.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be a great inside runner, right? But like, I think running some inside zone coupled with an outside zone heavy approach, I think that he can run and, he can do effectiveness on the ground. Because the one thing that people are going to talk about a lot, and we actually talked about a little bit yesterday, just, kind of talking after the podcast, was some people are going to say like durability stuff. And durability for me is not a concern until it is, right? And like, Deuce Vaughn has carried a heavy workload for Kansas State over the last 2 years. Like, and he's had no durability concerns at all. I mean, he ran for over 1,400 yards last year just on the ground, plus the 40-something catches that he had in the passing game as well. So I think that he is determined runner. Like, he's not going to break tackles, but he's going to slip some tackles, right? He's going to do that stuff. And I think he's going to work to the perimeter a little bit. He is a much better version, in my opinion, of Boston Scott. Boston Scott has been a pretty solid player.
Boston Scott's slow, too. He's not that fast. I think he's like a 4.6 guy.
I think he's like a 4.5 high guy. Yeah. He's not too fast. But, I mean, he's been a really solid contributor for the Eagles despite being 5'5", 180 pounds. Like, they're similar size profiles, but I think that this is just a much more juiced up version of the Boston Scott because I don't want to compare him to Darren Sproles, even though there are some parallels. because people are going to call it lazy because they're roughly the same size, but they also both went to Kansas State. Some people are going to call it lazy, but there are some parallels to Darren Sproles, if we're being honest.
I get the parallels to Darren Sproles, but part of me kind of thinks, and maybe I haven't watched Darren Sproles enough recently. Part of me kind of thinks that Vaughn's more explosive. Like Sproles was shifty, but I feel like there's more explosiveness with a guy like Vaughn. Sproles was so good because he was a good receiver and he could get a good amount of carries and he was durable for a player that small. But I wasn't as juiced up watching him as I was compared to Deuce Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn. I mean, Darren Sproles. I'm trying to look at real quick. I think he ran like 4.3 something though, man.
Yeah.
I think he ran like 4.3s.
Do you think Vaughn's a 4.2 guy? I think you said that the other day.
No. I think he might be a 4.3 something guy though. Okay. He's fast. He's probably going to run slight. I was wrong. Darren Sproles 4.49, which is still a pretty good time. So. Dude, he had 23 reps at 2 1/4. Darren Sproles,
dude. But let's be real. How long are his arms? That's like, I have
28 and 28 1/4 inches.
One of my best friends from high school, and I haven't talked to him in a while, but I played lacrosse and hockey with him. He was 5'4", 5'5", so probably the same size as Deuce Vaughn, and he could just rep out on bench, but like you're watching him bench and it's like, okay, he's going half the distance I have to go to get the bar up. So it's like, how much stronger is he really than me when the distance? I don't know. I don't know if I really counted those 22 reps.
It's like an Ant-Man effect, right? Darren Sproles was a freak though. Still 23 reps at that size is still pretty insane at 2 1/4. But yeah, I think he's electric. The only thing that I don't like about his profile is those types of guys. I would usually like to be return men, and he doesn't return. Like he returned, I think, a couple kicks as a freshman. Like he doesn't return punts. He's not a main kick returner. It's just.
Well, do you think that maybe part of that was the coaching staff just being leery of not wanting to him getting hit too much?
Yeah, no. No. If I was a coaching staff, I probably wouldn't make him return kicks or punts either. I'm just saying for an NFL draft evaluation, you would like a guy that's going to be a situational pass catching, undersized running back to also return kicks potentially. Because I think he would be good at both kick and punt return. Because I think he's twitchy enough to be a punt returner, make a guy miss, and kick return. I think he's got enough straight line speed where he would be a good player in that regard too. So I would just like him to have some type of background. It's like Jahmyr Gibbs has the great kick return background, right? Like I would like him to just have more of a kick return background, just for my general evaluation, if that makes sense.
We've already established where we both kind of see Jahmyr, and I think we both agree that this is a first round kid. But with Deuce Vaughn and his, some of his physical caveats that are going to come into play with his evaluation and his projection. Like realistically, like where do you see him going? And maybe where would you take him? I guess is like a 2-part approach to this.
I could see him going anywhere around 3 to 5, somewhere in that ballpark. I would personally take him late day 2. I would take him in the 3rd round if I'm looking for a guy to be a dynamic weapon in my offense. Because I think that I don't think you have to label him as a running back, dude. Like he's a guy that could go in the slot. He could do things in space. Like he's not just a pure running back. Like there's a lot of things he could bring to an offense. So I would draft him late day 2. I would, but I mean, he's an undersized running back. So you could tell me he goes in 4th round and be like, yeah, okay, cool. 5th round, cool. Whatever. We just saw Kyron Williams, and this is a much different player than Kyron Williams, but Kyron Williams went in the 5th round. He had fantastic film, and he brings kind of some of the same baselines as a Deuce Vaughn, just in a different type of package. So, I mean, you could convince me that he's a mid-round pick, but I would take him late day 2 just because I think he has that dynamic ability that as an offense, I think an offensive coordinator can get so, like, could you imagine this kid? And we're talking about Darren Sproles a lot. Like if Sean Payton was still coaching the Saints, could you imagine this kid with Sean Payton? Like just dynamic, man, just dynamic type of element.
Or I'm trying to think of some other teams off the top of our heads that the Saints is the obvious one, but that offense might look completely different.
Any team that has Tom Brady, like, as that pass catching running back, like
I almost think that like you throw him in on the Chargers team that's already got like I don't know why that came to mind, or maybe it's the Sproles
because of
connection.
Eckler.
Yeah.
Eckler. Yeah. Or even even with like Cincinnati, because they're trying to look for a guy to replace the Giovanni Bernard type of role in their
Right.
offense behind Mixon. Like that type of dude with Mixon would be fantastic in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Like in a vacuum, if I'm not concerned about the size and he's shown durability, assuming nothing happens this upcoming year, he's got a decent amount of touches under his belt, which might draw some concern. In a vacuum, like I think I'm putting him as the third running back that I've watched. Like I think I would put him up there just based off of that pure talent, that explosiveness. I know that probably counterintuitive and against the grain of most people that would probably put Tank Bigsby there because he's a bigger, more powerful, durable type running back. But I think you're getting a weapon that can do so many different things for your offense. Like I liked it when they stuck him in the slot, and he's almost so small and so casual of a route runner. He gets lost, which is
he does
what makes him a legitimate threat. So as to what you're saying, I would take him somewhere on day 2. I think realistically, he's probably going to go early day 3 because teams are going to have all the film. They're going to have all the evaluation. They're going to have all of his numbers. He's probably going to kill it at the combine. And then there's going to be a bunch of jackasses in scouting departments. They're like, but he's 5'6", so we got to move him down a couple spots in order to justify taking him.
Yeah, it's probably going to happen, man. I'll say this, kind of the last note is, of the guys I've watched, I would probably put Zach Evans in at number 3, but I know I was a little higher on Evans than you were personally.
Just slightly.
We've had a lot of guys that we haven't watched yet. Obviously, we can't get to everybody this week, but there's other guys, like Sean Tucker from Syracuse, and Kendre Miller, I know, is a guy that has some fans from TCU, and Lou Nichols III, who was a Central Michigan guy who actually led college football in rushing last year, Blake Corum. There's a lot of guys that we want to get to, obviously. Quick note on Jahmyr Gibbs, Joe. He was born in 2002, so he's also very young, man.
He's 20?
Yeah, 20. He was born March 20th, 2002.
Dude,
that's fine.
I'm telling you, man, this is he has not that many touches at Georgia Tech because, again, they didn't properly use him. A lot of his touches were receptions. There were a bunch of games where you look at his stat line, he got only 10 carries, 11 carries. So not overworked. He's going to go to Alabama and add a little tread to the tires. But, dude, man, young running back, no necessary injury history that's concerning. I think he had something when I looked it up. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But come on, man. That is fantastic what he is as a prospect. I don't mean to just keep circling back the same take, but he might be my draft crush already. I think I've already found one, and I haven't watched any other positions.
Deuce Vaughn, also pretty young. He was November 2nd, 2001, so he will be 22 as a rookie. That's good. Zach Charbonnet is actually pretty young as well, even though he's a 4-year guy. Interesting. Okay, cool. Dude, the running back class is nutty. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
We're going to round up the running back class on our next episode. Be sure to tune into that. Hit subscribe on Hack City's YouTube or the audio feed wherever you're tuning in, at Joe DeLeone, at Rise and Draft, and at NFL Prospects Pod on Twitter. We'll talk to you later, folks. Enjoy your day.